There's no question that the pitch slap phenomenon is prevalent in social media today. Yet here is somebody who has to launch and pitch at some level a new book. So how do you sort of square those corners?
It is a great question, it is the thing that I absolutely detest about writing a book, is that at some point you have to market.
You have to sell the book, right?
You have to sell the book. And so there are two things. One is that I have spent, from the time the last book to this book, I have spent the last 3 years adding value to people. And so when you look at the track record over time, the percentage of my posts that talk about something that I'm doing is, I don't know what it is, but it's quite small. So I've earned the trust and respect of people. And by doing that, those people want to know when I have more that they can read. And so I've heard people say, like, no, tell us about the book. Obviously, we've been following along all this time, liking and engaging with your perspective on stuff. Then of course we want to read it in book form. So I think you earn trust and respect, and people will want to hear it from you. But you're right in that it does not, I always have this feeling in my head that people are on LinkedIn going, we know it, you got a book coming.
Well, it has to be done, but I think you're exactly right. You're not really selling the book. You're just tying together the relationship loose ends based on the value that you've already provided. Of course, one of the things that we spend a lot of time talking about on this program is sort of the enterprise social media world is social media measurement and attribution, because the budgets are going up and up and up, because it's becoming more of a purchase as opposed to an organic reach scenario. More budgets equals more attention equals more proof points. So there's a lot more math around social media than there ever has been. Do you feel like that helps because now you've got actual proof, or hurts because now you're playing to the numbers?
Both. It helps because, it's nice to know what effect something has on a business. But I think it hurts more than it helps at this point, and it shouldn't. I think it hurts because, one, clients are hearing this, marketers are hearing, there is a metric and this can help us, really get to ROI. And we know the effect that a specific post can have on conversion and on an actual transaction. And so they come to their agency and they go, what's your philosophy on data? And my first response is, what the hell is yours? Like why are you're coming to me to give you something that you, as a marketer, you should be the one telling me, this is our data foundation. This is how we use it. This is what we track. How are you going to integrate with our world? But by coming to me as an agency and asking me to dictate your entire data strategy, I think is the wrong way at it. So that's the one way it's hurting us. The second way it's hurting us is that we're chasing the metric, and we're chasing the metric around dollar value while ignoring that the thing that I think has just as much, if not more, although tough to prove, impact on the return on that investment is the quality of the output that is put into that medium.
Do you feel like there is enough curiosity amongst social media professionals today, or has it become a little bit more of an assembly line? I don't want to lead the witness, but because there's such a pressure to execute, is there enough time to say, well, what if we did it this way?
Yes, I think you're right. I think that is, you weren't leading the witness. The witness would have responded in the affirmative that, yes, it has become an assembly line. And we're forgetting that on one level, every artist knows that you make more money from the print than the original. You just do. But that print doesn't exist with an absolutely brilliant original. And so we've jumped right to the print. And we're using, a template driven. We have this type of headline with this type of image, and the logo goes here, and that is fine to have on the assembly line. But every once in a while, we need to be busting out and trying new things and new concept cars. And can we develop something that actually delivers more on the assembly line? Can we tweak new things? And, even pre-digital, I was the creative director on Dell. And Dell was such a really interesting model because it was everything we're talking about now, but in phone. It was like 310 Dell. And we tracked full page print ads that were covered with speeds and feeds, all configs. And we knew that the back page of a Globe Mail delivered at $15 cost per call every single week. And we knew, and it was on an assembly line. But every once in a while, every quarter, we would go, wow, how do we get that down to $14? What if we put radio on air? Would that affect the print? So we're constantly. And so we'd have things that were in the core that were on the assembly line, but we were committed both in budget and in activity, in trying other things to both complement the core and to be introduced into the core. So that was a great example. Again, this is totally an old school example, but when you introduced radio, the radio itself didn't deliver an acceptable cost per call, but it drove down the cost of the print. And so it complemented the stuff in the core. And so we're always trying those things. So if you're a marketer and you're a client, you need to allocate spending to do those things. You need to allocate time to do those things. And here's the most important part. You can't say, and give me some expected levels of performance. The whole idea of a concept car is this thing is never going on the assembly line, that you just do it to do it. And then you go, oh, the gas cap, maybe this can be introduced into the assembly line. So we get this a lot from people who come in and say, we want to see something we've never seen before and give us the metrics that we expect to get from. And like that is not how logic works. That does not work that way.
What one tip would you give somebody who's looking to become a social pro?
Ooh, do it. And I mean by do it, I have a friend who's a TV writer, and he often has people come to him and say, I want to write for TV. And he says, what have you written? And people go, no, I want to become one. And he's like, well, show me a script. And I think that is just the best way, is to immerse yourself and do it. And I get that some people I don't like being like a person that, then create a character, do something that launches something that you build from day one of having zero fans, followers, whatever you want to call it. Build something from the ground up, and it doesn't matter if it's fictional character, whatever, and do it and mess around with stuff before you get into an environment where there is infrastructure and there are policies and there's legislation around what you can say and what you can't say. Go completely raw and just build something yourself from the ground up. Do it to do it.